My mother-in-law won't stop showing up at my home. I refuse to let her in.
You shall not pass.
Hi there, long-time lurker, first-time poster. Just wanting to vent about what happened yesterday and open to advice on how to handle things going forward. I see the advice all the time of just don't answer the door if they show up, so that's what I did yesterday. By the way, this comes from Whoa. And if you want to submit your own stories, just go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, for brief background, it's been a long and hard road with mother-in-law. She was always distant but domineering when I would have to see her, but became unhinged and controlling once I became pregnant, which often seems to be the case. As a result of her behavior, I will absolutely not be alone with her now and will not host her for visits unless my partner is there. I also have pushback on her contacting me via phone by referring her back to my partner. She believes that she is entitled to weekly visits with grandchild, even though prior to this, she did not have that type of relationship with her son. They would only see each other for birthday dinners and other obligatory holidays. So yesterday, I was at home with my baby. My partner was out for the day and he messaged me, "Mom wants to come over." I text back advising him just to say, that doesn't work for us. I asked what time she was aiming for so I could be alert just in case. He told me he had said no and that was that. Or would have been with a normal person. About 45 minutes before when she wanted to visit, I noticed out the window what I was pretty sure was her car, parked too far away for me to be sure, but on an angle looking over into our window. She's just like prime spot for spying.
She's got binoculars and she's like, I'll be there soon.
Oh my goodness. Hard to describe, but it was just up a connecting side street, if that makes sense. I thought, surely not, but lowered the blinds just in case. I went about my business. It was nap time, so I got the baby down for that. Not easy for us at the moment. And then went back out to our living area. I spied out the window and could see the car was still there. I felt creeped out and lowered the blinds a bit more. I sat on the couch and got onto some admin I needed to. About 15 minutes after, when she wanted to come over, there was a loud knock at the door. I froze and ignored it. There was a knock again, louder. I ignored it and ducked down completely. The blinds were open about an inch now, so I hid out of the view of that and stayed down. After the knocking, I could see the shadow of someone walking along the window, up and back, I assume trying to see in. I knew it was her, and I was certain that she was trying to wake up the baby with her knocking, thinking that that was her ticket in. Miraculously, the baby stayed asleep. Very nice. I texted my partner, "What is happening?" and waited until it sounded like she had left and then commando crawled to another window for a better view. I watched her move her car, driving past the front of my house to park on the other side, still on my street, but where I think she would have thought she was out of view. It was so creepy. I called my partner and asked what he said to his mom. He said that he told her not today. I said, well, she's definitely here anyway. He said that he wasn't there and that he didn't know what myself and my baby were up to, so we might be out or doing nap time or whatever, but that it wasn't a good day. You'll note this is way more detail than he should have shared. She has then started texting him asking what is going on and complaining that she was knocking and no one answered. My partner says that he repeated that it wasn't a good day to visit. She apparently got angry and said that she was too upset and distraught by this to even discuss it and that they would be talking about it when he got back. She's gonna wait at their house until he gets back.
She's like, fine, I've been here for ages. And he's like, I'm not there. And she's like, okay, I'll just be in my car. I'll wait.
One small win, my partner said that he could see that this was manipulative. I felt violated and outraged. She was upset by what? She was told no, tried to barge in anyway, and didn't get in. She would have known I was home because I suspect that she was surveilling us before I realized, which is just so unsettling.
What is she, a PI? What's going on here? Just also to clarify, so she was supposed to come over originally?
She asked if she could come over originally.
They said no, but she's probably said, like, I'll be over at this time.
Yeah, and then the husband was just like, no, it's not a good day. Like, they'll be working home and then just, like, nap time and stuff like that. And she's like, okay. So that tells me that they're going to be home and they can hear me and they will accept me anyway. Maybe she was assuming that there wasn't any communication between OP and the husband.
Yeah, maybe she's like, partners don't talk.
He said no, but she'll be fine with it. She'll have to be.
It's like, mom said no, but I'll ask dad.
I wish I could say this ended here. 2.5 hours later, I was on a FaceTime call and finally felt okay putting the blinds up again. I am mid-conversation and Who should drive past again but mother-in-law with the biggest crap-eating grin? My heart rate instantly jumped and I felt panicked. I had to get out of there.
Freaking Freddy Krueger right now.
It's terrifying. I packed our stuff up and we left. There is so much wrong with this. The manipulation to say to her son how upset she is, yet drive back past again, practically cackling, is unhinged. The prolonged stalking of me in my own home is unhinged. The refusal to accept a no, unhinged.
A lot of unhinged.
Yeah, she's very unhinged.
Get those doors checked.
Anyway, I now feel shaken and paranoid and kept my blinds down today. I am not looking forward to seeing her more than usual. My partner has said, well, we need to tell her what she's doing wrong because she doesn't know. She does know, though. She is very conniving and adapts her behavior to the audience, so clearly on some level she knows something is wrong. I've also found anytime I have to address anything, it gets nowhere. Thanks to this sub, I've now learned not to engage in justified, argue, defend, or explaining behaviors with her. I guess any advice on what to say to her that is firm and doesn't let her play the victim in this would be helpful. Obviously, my partner has not been ideal in this. We've had to come a long way from him saying, that's just how mom is, to acknowledging this behavior is unreasonable. Also, advice on how to make it clear to someone who doesn't listen that we will not be seeing her as much as she wants to see us. I cannot stomach weekly visits with this woman. Monthly or obligatory occasions is the best I could do, and given everything that's happened, that is more generous than I'd like to be. Sorry for such a ramble. Thank you for reading, and also thank you to this sub. It's been a real lifeline in difficult times and a great source of advice. But there is an update. So how would you handle with a woman like this mother-in-law?
Move countries. You gotta leave the country. Truly. And change your name. I don't know. I feel like the husband needs to handle all of this. You know? Yeah. Like, what are you supposed to do? You're trying to take care of a baby, and this mother-in-law is freaking you out. Beyond getting a restraining order, I feel like the husband needs to set down the law of the land.
Absolutely. Honestly, like, you put up security cameras. That's a good thing to do. Put up security cameras so you have proof. And then see her parked car, just like full-time job stalking you guys. And then be like, if you keep doing this, dude, I'm going to call the police. You got to really get the law involved. But there is an update, so let's see what they ended up doing. I am very emotional writing this, so apologies in advance for my rambling. It's been a long and very hard road with this mother-in-law. Firstly, thank you to everyone who replied. I read every response and appreciated them all deeply. As that was my first Reddit post, I didn't realize it would be locked so soon, and I wouldn't be able to reply to anyone, so apologies for that. I took some time to digest it all. My update isn't great. My partner got back from work and was distant and not very communicative. I thought, okay, he's tired. I'll give him some time to rest before we discuss. Days of this awful silence rolled by. Twice in this time I said, is there anything you want to discuss with me? To no avail. If the shoe was on the other foot and my parents had behaved this way to him, I would not need to be asked to deal with it. I would be calling my parents and saying, what the bleep was that? Immediately. I am Australian, by way of explanation. Anyway, I have felt lonely and isolated, living alongside someone barely talking to me and checked out from helping me with anything until today. Today I was working from home and he had the day off. When I had a lunch break and baby was in daycare, I gave him another opportunity to address things. He said that he had spoken to his dad this morning about the situation, and his dad was surprised to hear that there was any issue with his mom. He was shocked at how these perceptions of her behavior. I did not witness the phone call, but would not be surprised if my partner threw me under the bus for all of it. He asked if his dad would mediate and speak to his mom about the problematic behavior, but he refused and said no, my partner would need to. That his dad was in complete denial about her is shocking, but not surprising. I have had many suggestive comments from his family suggesting that there is an awareness that mother-in-law can be bossy and controlling, exact examples being a sister of hers describing her as a very A-type personality and likes things a certain way. This was the first time I met her. Another example from a different sister being, well, you know how she is, in response to my partner talking about some overbearing behavior during my pregnancy. From my partner and his siblings, I have heard that they regularly witnessed their mother yelling and screaming at their dad growing up, that corporal punishment was used, that silent treatment was regularly used if they questioned anything, and that she can never admit that she is wrong. Wow. So I guess that my partner's dad is a victim of all of this too. A frog in boiling water, so to speak. It is not surprising that he escapes to play golf so much now that he is retired. But still, this was very disappointing to hear. Oh my goodness. So literally everyone is like experiencing this manipulative and, possibly abusive woman. And they're just kind of like, well, that's mom.
That's just mom for you. You know how mom is. She's just terrible. No one likes her.
Like, if that's just how mom is, we should know that this is easy to believe that she's doing this stuff. Anyway, to move to more disappointment, my partner then shifted blame over to me.
No.
He said that I am the one with the problem with her and that he doesn't want to assassinate her character.
This is the problem. This was always the problem. The problem is that you are experiencing a lot of weird behavior and a lot of boundary crossing behavior from your mother-in-law. And honestly, it probably would be fine if your partner was on your side, but your partner has not been on your side.
Yeah. I mean, the partner is obviously like also a victim to this manipulation and everything, but it's like that still doesn't mean that you have to succumb to that and like also be a victim. Like you can stand up for yourself still. Oh my goodness. Therefore, I am the one who needs to have a talk to her about all of this. I think that the fact that two men who have been around her for a long time are afraid to have a conversation with her speaks volumes. Apparently, his dad said that they assume we had broken up, and that's why my partner has no control of when they can visit. What?
Like saying like, oh, we just assumed that you guys had broken up because otherwise your husband would be able to let us come and visit the baby.
Yeah, which is a wild thing to come out with, if you ask me. Though, of course, not the most wild when I was pregnant and began to avoid mother-in-law's controlling when she would talk to me about having a miscarriage, which is beyond shocking. And I believe some subliminal desire or threat she was expressing. I wish this wasn't the case, but it was. I didn't even know how to respond at the time. I was so caught off guard. Oh my goodness. That is beyond wild. Oh my gosh. My partner accused me again of wanting him to cut his family off, which is not the case. Given the circumstances, I think maintaining their traditional family contact of around birthdays, occasions only is more than fair. I have also encouraged him to go and visit them without me if that was normal for him, but he won't do it. Not even phone calls. He justifies this, saying that they don't have the same interests and that they don't want to see him, only our baby. We're getting so many mixed signals from this husband.
I know. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, is this some sort of like subconscious thing that like he just doesn't want to see these people but doesn't really know or recognize that feeling?
Yeah, he's like, I don't like my parents, but no, I love them.
It's just because like they don't want to see me. They just want to see the baby. There's something wrong with them. I just don't want to be around them.
He's not fully computing.
Oh boy, everyone needs therapy.
Yeah, big time.
But if the fact that he won't spend time with them alone isn't a red flag, I don't know what is. I should mention that this isn't unique to him. His siblings also have to be bullied into contact with mother-in-law. It regularly comes up that they couldn't meet with her because of stomach aches. Again, I am talking about adults in their 30s here, the tummy aches or avoidance. To have 3 children and all avoid you with the exception of obligation? OP says, again, red flag. It absolutely is a red flag. 100%. Anyway, suffice to say that I'm extremely distressed. I had trouble breathing earlier, like a panic attack, and that is not usual for me. It is just shocking to me that my partner is making out like I am the problem when I feel like a victim in this. I feel uncomfortable in my own home now. I have reminded him that I am on his team and that I want to find a solution. I understand that it is not a good situation, but it seems to be for nothing. And it gets worse.
No, stop getting worse.
Please. His parents were him to come over and visit today again. If the husband is using the word and is not seeing a problem.
Yeah, he's like, my parents keep me, and Opie's like, okay, well, let's set up boundaries. He's like, no, I love them. They're great.
Yeah, it's like, make it make sense. I thought they were coming from their home an hour away. After a lot of back and forth, I said to my partner, if it would make his life easier, maybe we could meet briefly in a neutral location, but I wanted the stalking incident addressed directly. He said that he had already told them to go home. Interesting. Unbeknown to me, they were waiting at a cafe just around the corner from us, about 150 meters away.
Close.
And they were pushing to come over. Of course, they had an excuse for being in the area, but I don't buy it. This is as very triggering after feeling like I was being hunted in my own home by them just the other day. To provide more detail, I have recently started back at work and anticipated my mother-in-law would try and take over once I returned. Also, that she would try and steamroll my partner. I negotiated to work from home with my work, and she attempted to direct me to attend the office full time. Yes, she did. Of course, when my partner was not present. Because of this, I organized for the baby to be in daycare. I'm glad I trusted my intuition on that because I think this is what happened today. She thought I would be away and she could force her way in to ignore my boundary. She has always been desperate to have my baby alone, which is very concerning for me. Me too. If a person's crazy like this and they want to be alone with your child.
Yeah, I would be like, no, you're never going to be alone with my baby. Sorry.
Weird. My partner's response to this has been more distressing than I imagined. I guess based on conversations we had pre-baby, I thought we were on the same page when creating this family unit, but that is not the case. A hard reality to confront. I am not someone who has high conflict relationships or is unreliable, so to not be believed when I'm saying to him, hey, there's a big issue here, is very hard. I've only skimmed the surface with these posts, but there is an extensive list of behavior and boundary stomping from her that has gotten us to this point. Thank you if you've read my vent this far, and I guess if things are coming to a crunch, I'm the one left standing to have a conversation with my mother-in-law. So what do I say? How do I approach this? I have kept her blocked on my phone since the stalking incident. And by the way, how you can approach listening to full episodes with my stories like these is just going to your favorite podcast app. Just go to iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you choose, and search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more, but what would our answers be so far?
At the end of the day, like, your mother-in-law's crazy, but you don't have a mother-in-law problem so much as you have a husband problem. And you guys need to get on the same page and either go to like therapy, have a conversation, because if you can't get on the same page, if he can't be like rooting for you, standing up for you, then it's not an effective partnership.
Yeah, because if like at first he was still using the excuses of like, oh, it's just how she is, and then you've done a lot of work to get him to the point of recognizing the manipulation. I wonder how long it took to get from point A to point B with that, because then also too, like, it obviously seems like, you know, maybe he recognizes it but doesn't quite know what to do when he's in that situation, and kind of is used to the dynamic that he's had his whole life of like just dealing with it and just going along with it, you know. So he's definitely has an issue and needs to learn how to stand up and work around this manipulation. So I don't know what you would say to her, but maybe just what's on your thoughts and just like trying to level with them. But there's a tiny bit more to note. I am aware my partner has failed catastrophically to protect my baby, and I in this. I love when they listen to us. Instead, we are being offered as his meat shield to someone even he doesn't want to spend time with. It is devastating to beg for understanding from him and be met with, I don't know why you're so emotional about this. I've had this woman playing her covert games and with me since pregnancy. I feel like with people like this, like people who are just so like manipulative, for any sort of argument they have a clap back. Even if it doesn't make sense, they've got something to say. So I feel like, I mean, depending on the person, it probably won't help in a lot of cases. But like if with some people, if you just like calmly talk to them and try your best, even though it doesn't make sense, to just like try to see their thought process, not trying to believe them or anything like that, but just to hopefully explain it in a way where they can maybe see how crazy it is and just explain themselves back to them. That sometimes helps. But if you come out swinging, it's never going to end. So you got to start calm at least.
Yeah, my advice is just to kind of try and get through to your husband. But that is the end of that story.